Staff Sergeant Marcus Rivera felt his service dog, Rex, press against his trembling leg as he stood in the dimly lit parking lot. His heart raced. But it wasn't out of fear. It was a flood of memories rushing back to him. The police officer's sharp voice echoed across the lot, demanding, "Sir, I need you to drop that leash and step away from the animal immediately." Marcus' weathered hands trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of the memories that came crashing down on him. His purple heart gleamed under the harsh streetlight, a silent testament to the battles he had fought in Afghanistan. But tonight, he wasn't facing an enemy he had trained for. He was facing a police officer who didn't see him as a soldier or a hero, but as just another problem to deal with. The community center was just a short distance away, where Marcus volunteered every week to help other veterans like himself. He guided them through the complex maze of paperwork, helping them claim their benefits. He found purpose in this, giving back to those who had shared in his struggles. He had already earned respect among his peers for his unwavering commitment to his fellow veterans. This should have been a simple evening, but in an instant, everything changed. Rex, a well-trained German shepherd, stood by Marcus, sensing the tension in the air. Marcus had spent years with Rex, building a bond stronger than that of most people. The dog wasn't just a companion. He was a lifeline. Rex had been trained to recognize the signs of panic attacks, a constant reminder of Marcus' invisible wounds from war. Marcus himself wasn't one to seek attention. His green jacket and jeans were simple and understated. His dark hair, touched with premature gray, added to the worn-out look of a man who had seen too much. Yet his brown eyes still reflected a fire, a belief that good men could make the world better. But tonight, all of that was being called into question by a stranger, someone who had no idea who Marcus was or what he had been through. Marcus wasn't the only one in his family who had served in the military. It was a family tradition that stretched back 3 generations. His grandfather had fought in the Korean War, his father in Vietnam. When Marcus enlisted at 18, straight out of high school in El Paso, he felt the weight of that legacy upon his shoulders. He wanted to honor their service, to live up to the expectations of those who came before him. His first deployment went relatively smoothly, but the second tour was different. In Afghanistan, he found himself in situations that no amount of training could fully prepare him for. The second deployment brought horror, an IED explosion that claimed the lives of 3 of his closest comrades and left Marcus with physical and emotional scars that would never fully heal. The physical injuries healed over time, but the invisible wounds, the PTSD, the sleepless nights, the anxiety, would remain with him forever. This was when Rex came into his life. The German shepherd was more than just a dog. He became Marcus' constant companion, trained to respond to his panic attacks, his flashbacks, and the overwhelming feelings of helplessness that often overcame him in public places. Rex could sense the changes in Marcus' behavior before he could even speak about them. With Rex by his side, Marcus slowly started to rebuild his life. He began to feel like himself again, working construction during the day and volunteering at the community center in the evenings. There, he found purpose, helping other veterans navigate the maze of benefits and legal paperwork. It wasn't glamorous work, but it was necessary. It was supposed to be another typical night at the community center when Officer Bradley pulled up in his patrol car. Marcus could instantly tell this officer was young, eager to prove himself, and perhaps a bit too quick to escalate situations. As the officer approached, Marcus felt the weight of the moment. He had experienced combat, been to hell and back, but now he was being confronted in a civilian setting. Officer Bradley's first words were accusatory. He explained that someone had called in a complaint about a man with a dog blocking the sidewalk. Marcus tried to explain calmly that he was simply leaving the community center after his volunteer shift. But Officer Bradley wasn't interested in hearing the explanation. The officer, with suspicion in his eyes, demanded to see Marcus' identification and asked whether Rex was truly a service dog. The words stung. They were the same kinds of assumptions Marcus had faced time and time again, the kind of judgment that veterans often receive when they return home from war. Officer Bradley insinuated that Marcus was just another homeless veteran looking for handouts. Marcus, ever patient, explained that service dogs didn't need special licenses or registration. But the officer wasn't listening. As the conversation grew tense, Officer Bradley ordered Marcus to produce documentation for Rex. Even though Marcus had already explained that under federal law, service dogs did not require any specific documentation. The officer's anger grew. He accused Marcus of being uncooperative and disrespectful to law enforcement. Rex, ever watchful of his handler, pressed against Marcus' leg. Sensing the rising tension, the crowd around them started to take notice. People slowed down, some pulling out their phones to record what was happening. The officer's attitude became more hostile, and the situation escalated when Bradley ordered Marcus to get on the ground. Marcus raised his hands, trying to de-escalate the situation. But Rex wasn't moving. He stood firm, positioning himself between Marcus and the officer. The officer, interpreting this as aggression, reached for his taser and threatened to use it. Marcus, with years of military experience and training, understood the implications of the taser being drawn. He also knew that trying to reason with someone in this state was pointless. The moment the taser came out, Marcus was transported back to Afghanistan, where the sound of electrical devices often meant life-or-death decisions. His heart raced, his hands shook, and the familiar smell of burning metal flooded his senses. But this time, it wasn't an IED. It was a police officer who had made up his mind about Marcus. Just as the officer prepared to fire the taser, something unexpected happened. The roar of military vehicles filled the air, and 5 Marine trucks suddenly appeared, surrounding the block. The first vehicle rounded the corner just as Marcus felt the electric shock of the taser hit him. His body convulsed, and Rex, in a panic, barked loudly for the first time. The Marines didn't hesitate. They created a protective perimeter around Marcus, their presence overwhelming. The officer, once so confident in his authority, now found himself facing a group of people who truly understood what Marcus represented. Staff Sergeant Williams, the unit commander, approached Officer Bradley and asked for an explanation. The situation had shifted dramatically, and the officer's claims about an uncooperative veteran and an aggressive dog fell apart in front of everyone. The Marines didn't leave until they were sure Marcus was safe and that the proper reports were filed. Officer Bradley was left facing questions from his supervisor, who arrived to find that things had escalated far beyond what should have been a simple interaction. The video footage, recorded from multiple angles, made it impossible to deny the truth. Marcus didn't seek revenge. He didn't want to ruin the officer's career. He just wanted accountability. He asked for training for officers who didn't understand service dog laws and for assurances that no other veteran would ever have to face a similar situation. The Marines, with their collective weight, made sure these requests were taken seriously. The incident became a turning point for the community. Donations flooded into the community center, and local veterans organizations offered their support. Rex received extra treats and attention from the Marines, who understood the deep bond between a veteran and his service dog. Marcus continued his work, now with a new story to share. He can now tell others that sometimes justice works when good people stand up for what's right.